What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Recruiting Ain't Easy podcast. Let's get the show on the road. Hopefully, everyone is doing well. We got some chats in here already. Welcome to the stream. Let me just go back up to the beginning. Kicking off with the very first comment coming in from Luis Rodriguez with the first hashtag Team Swartz of the evening. Thank you so much, brother. Appreciate you. Hope all is well with you as we are here today. Dropping in to show some support. Question, does New York National Guard have 35 Lima counterintelligence agent available, or is it only active duty? We don't have any in the New York Army National Guard, unfortunately. So if you want to go active duty, let me know. I know several active duty recruiters that would be able to assist you with that if you qualify for it, of course. But we'll see what we can do for you. Put this over here. Try this little trackpad, make it a little bit easier for me. All right. So we got Serenity asking, is it easy transitioning to a civilian life to a soldier life? So honestly, this one's going to be, excuse me if I sound nasally, I'm at the tail end of a cold. This is going to be primarily dependent on your mental resilience, how you were raised, how mentally strong you are, how adaptive you can be in your environment. Can you get uncomfortable with being uncomfortable as you get used to and acclimate to your new environment? So for the most part, if you can get used to having responsibility, being told what to do, when to do, how to do it, whether you feel like doing it or not, then this will be too easy. But if you struggle with self-confidence, if you're not a very outgoing person like myself, more introverted, then you'll have a little challenge period or a season in life where you will have to acclimate to your new environment and everything that's going on. One key advice that I can give to you, what I want you to keep in the forefront of your mind if you do decide to join and go to basic training, is that whatever you experience at basic training is just for basic training. All right. And what I mean by that is the rest of your military career is literally not going to be having some drill sergeant in your face screaming at the top of their lungs because you messed up your bootlace or something like that. Right. So that is just a training environment type thing. So once you get to AIT, you'll have a little more responsibility and independence, a little more freedom, but they'll reel you back if they need to. Once you graduate from your job training, which is AIT, your advanced individual training, you'll move on to your unit of assignment, whether that's full-time or part-time. You'll do your job within the Army in that capacity. The rest will be on-the-job training. So basic training is what's going to transition you from a civilian into a soldier and earning that title of a soldier. AIT is going to teach you your job, which is going to be like barely scratching the surface information and knowledge, and it will be up to your unit and your leadership to teach you the rest of the skills that you will learn over the next few years that you're in the Army. Okay, so just be a half glass full kind of gal. Okay, and be like a sponge. Try to learn as much as you can. Make friends. Don't trust everyone, but be respectful. Maintain your military bearing, and you will be fine. All right. Oh, looks like you have another comment here. Oh, okay, from civilian. Hopefully that helps you out, Serenity, and thank you. So we've got Quentin Eastman says, the MOS I have in mind are 12 Charlie and 12 Whiskey, 91 Bravo, and 92 Yankee. That's what I'm talking about. Good stuff. Then we got Sargento Giuseppe De Rosa with the hashtag Team Swartz. Appreciate you, buddy. Thank you very much. We got Anakin with the my boy. How you doing? How you doing? We got Yasir with the hashtag Team Swartz. Then we have Xavier saying, I'm back with the hashtag Team Swartz. I left the Army in March. So are you looking to get back in yet? I kind of know somebody. Seriously. Call me. right, so we got Patrick joining at 30 years old. What will drill sergeants do or responsibility given? So you'll have the nickname of grandpa or grandma. Patrick sounds like a male name, so you'll be nicknamed as grandpa. So get used to hearing that. And you might actually not get a whole lot of responsibility just because you're older. So in the military, age is just a number. So it's about rank. So initially, they'll probably pick the highest ranked person there, which is usually a specialist or maybe somebody who was prior service. And then, over the next week or two, they'll, swap out the student leadership with others, and others will share that responsibility while you're there. But this video here is joining at an older age. So everything that you're going to be thinking about and what I probably won't be addressing now will be in that video. So if you want to check that out, open up a new tab or something and check that out when you can. And drill sergeants yell. They will be yelling for a purpose to shape, mold, and mentor you and transition you from a civilian into a soldier. All right. Good luck to you guys. We got Blake Mangum saying, do you know what MOSs have a bonus right now? So for active duty, it's going to depend on all kinds of different things. It's going to be MOS specific, duty location specific, length of your contract specific. If you're choosing a certain option like airborne, this, that, whatever, some of these things will add to or take away from your bonus opportunities. But when it comes to the National Guard, it is going to be, you got to score a 50 better in the ASVAB, sign up for a minimum of 6 years, and it's only going to be offered to 2 MOSs per state. So your local recruiter will be able to tell you what they can specifically do for you or not. I know that's probably not what you want to hear, but I would say take the test and make sure that you meet the qualification before you start asking for incentives like that. But good thing you're asking, though. Sometimes people don't even know that those are a possibility. But I will say, going back to Blake here, if you're eligible for a bonus, you will get the bonus. We don't gatekeep. We don't sit there and be like, nah, I don't like this applicant. F that guy. He showed up late to my office multiple times. I'm not getting him jack. Don't work like that, all right? So in the system, if whatever you're joining for or as or getting qualifies for some sort of incentive, it's going to be attached to your application or your contract. So just word to the wise. We got the Serenity again from Kentucky, out freaking standing with the hashtag Team SWARTZ. Welcome to the stream. Appreciate you tuning in. I think you're new here, so I appreciate you tuning in. We got Patrick also, difference. Also, what is the difference versus guard and active? What's better for a 30-year-old? Man, these are really, really good questions. And I have a very in-depth, detailed video right here coming in here titled the active duty versus guard reserve. That video will go over everything that you're going to be contemplating in your decision-making process. So good luck to you, and hopefully you make a good decision for you, okay? That's another thing I want to say. With 21 years of experience as a recruiter to date, I can honestly say that I've never pressured anyone to join, because at the end of the day, I know that this is a very, very important decision and you should not take it lightly. And the last thing I want you to do is to be able to get yourself into a contract just because I persuaded you or convinced you to join. So with that said, what I would really appreciate, not for me, but for you, is that you take this period of time of you doing your research to make an informed decision. At the end of the day, we as recruiters want to put you in boots, right? We don't put me in, coach, right? So we want to put you in like yesterday, right? So understand that when a recruiter is pressuring you to join, let's do it now, let's do it now, let's do it now. Like, I mean, you want to do it smoothly and quickly, but if you let's say you qualify for something, well, Actually, I think this video is going to address exactly what I'm trying to say here in more details. It's don't join the U.S. Army until you watch this video first. But at the end of the day, we as recruiters are trying to get you in boots. So don't allow a recruiter to push you if you don't want to join. Like if you are contemplating on one versus the other, make sure you research both heavily and make an informed decision and choose for your reasons and your reasons alone. Don't allow us to influence you with persuasion and, smooth talk. Keep it factual, keep it logical. I know we all like to choose things on feeling, but be logical and factual in your decision-making process. Hopefully that makes sense. But yeah, good luck to you. Mr. Black says, glad to see you back. Hope your week went well. It sure did. Sure did. All right. So we got Enrique here with the verified my PyCat scores today. Out freaking standing. Hua freaking Luya. And got an 81 as well. I fought my first structure fire. Oh, volunteer firefighter, huh? I did that for a little while before I, came down here to New York City for the Homeland Security mission and eventually recruiting. And I absolutely loved my volunteer fireman time. And that must have been adrenaline pumping. Super exciting, I bet. I remember, I kid you not, I think it was like something like between 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning. It was a structure fire. I roll up and I went ham. I had a full-size light bar on top of my car looking like a cop car. I think it was a 1987 Buick Regal Grand Sport, navy blue with a silver stripe down the side of it. It wasn't a racing stripe or anything, but it just had a chrome piece that went down the side. So it kind of looked like a police car. Anyhow, so I roll up on this person's house, and their house is fully evolved. And I remember getting out of my car, running up to the rig. I look at the captain, and I'm like, yes! Oh man, what's that movie? I can't remember. Anyway, I was like, yes, we got a live one. And then I look over, and the owner's right there crying. And I was like, ooh, I'm so sorry. What do you want me to do, coach? Put me in. And yeah, man, threw the SCBA on my back, and yeah, so it was man, that was amazing. But yeah, all right, man. Hopefully, it was a good experience for you too. Enrique says, will I run into any issues if I get a mental health waiver if I'm wanting to become a UH-60 crew chief? Well, I'll put it to you this way. If you need a medical waiver, then you need a medical waiver. It's not like you can pick and choose if you need one or not. If you have mental health issues in the past with depression, behavioral health, or what have you, is for the most part, as long as you can obtain those medical waivers, then it doesn't impact your opportunities within the Army, at least currently. All right. So if you do need a medical waiver for that, I do have a medical waiver guide here. And if there was self-harm involved, Enrique, please let me know in the chat box. Just put SH for self-harm, and I'll know what that is. And I'll just give you an additional tidbit that I wish that I added into that video at the time that I posted it. So yeah, but good luck to you. All right, Mr. Black again says I passed MEPS and got a high ASVAB score. I narrowed it down to 17 Charlie, which is cybersecurity or infantry. So far, I will be attending Future Soldier Prep course for being overweight. Any tips or advice and any tips for getting 17 Charlie? Is it full? So the good thing about going to the Future Soldier preparatory course for the ARMS program for being overweight is you can sign your contract for a very specific MOS. So if 17 Charlie is available at the time that you go to contract at MEPS, then you'll be signing up for 17 Charlie. Now, me personally speaking, if you're really, really into computers and cybersecurity and that type of a realm, then I would highly recommend that you go 17 Charlie, because that is going to be, if not already, a booming field outside of the Army. So having the secret or top secret clearance issued to you in the end, right, when you get awarded that, that right there is going to save any civilian company time and money for themselves or you by trying to obtain it outside of the Army. And you're going to have all kinds of crazy certificates, licenses that you'll get, right? So you're going to be saving a crap ton of money, and you're going to make a ton of money when you get out of the military. Or let's say you're going Guard or Reserve and you have that MOS, then that's going to help you tenfold as a civilian and do that part-time in the Army National Guard. So definitely, in my opinion, I would say 17 Charlie or 11 Bravo, just because 11 Bravo, in my personal opinion, and opinions are like assholes, so everyone seems to have one, but being infantry, for the most part, does not directly translate into anything in the civilian sector outside of security, maybe, and becoming a police officer. Aside from that, leadership, right? So with 17 Charlie, guaranteed you're going to get a job outside as long as you can sell yourself. That's just my 2 cents. Now, as far as my advice for losing more weight before you leave, I would say watch this video that's coming into the chat box now. All right. It's the TEAM SWARTZ fat loss strategy to join the keto and intermittent fasting strategy. I lost something like 34 pounds in like 2.5, 3 months. Very, very effective. Francisco Rivas says, have you seen a disc herniation get a waiver? Yes. As long as it's been a while and it's not that bad and you're not in pain, then that will significantly improve the ability of your medical waiver to get approved. All right. It's challenging, especially if it's fresh, but if it's been there for a while and you've recovered from it, you're not in pain, and it's not documented that you've been in pain, right? Then you should have a fair chance of getting an approved medical waiver. Nick asks, when I enlisted, I told my recruiter my friend recruited me, and I gave him my friend's info for the ribbon. Now my recruiter says that they don't give the ribbon out anymore. I want my friend to get a ribbon. That is straight up BS. Your recruiter's lying to you. You get your federal ribbon, and if you're going National Guard, then there's a state ribbon that you could also get, but you can't get 2 different awards for the same thing. So you're probably going to get the federal award instead. And that is still very, very much so a thing. All right. So that recruiter, tell him I said, stop capping, yo. And you can still get it. Because the reason why he's probably saying that, I'll keep it 100 with you. And I'll tell you what he's probably not telling you. And that is that your recruiter forgot to add them into the system as you referring them. So I'm not sure exactly how it works for the reserve and the active duty. For the Army National Guard, we annotate in their DD form 1966 that they were referred by and what unit they're assigned to. And if I'm not mistaken, there's a portal that the regular Army has that you refer them to as well. That may be another avenue. But if your recruiter failed to do that, then unfortunately, that soldier is going to have to get the recruiter to type up a memorandum for record stating that you referred them. The soldier who referred is going to have to do a letter stating that you did refer them. And the person who contracted as a result of the person referring them to the recruiter also has to hand in a letter verifying and confirming that you, in fact, were referred by XYZ. So those 3 letters get sent to, I guess, their recruiting operations center or whatever. That's what we do in our state. And they handle it at the national level, and they appeal it or add it or get you the award. So it's still possible to get it if your recruiter messed up. They're probably, to me, it sounds like they're just being lazy if I'm keeping it 100 with you. But good luck with that, and feel free to keep me posted. Mr. Black says, thank you. Appreciate you. I appreciate you as well. Thank you. So we just found out that I'm not getting a veteran status despite my 6 years in the reserves. So Giuseppe, what do you mean that you're not getting the veteran status? So just for the veteran status in of itself, you only need 1 day in paid status. So as per the Veterans Affairs, you are a United States veteran. So if you go to your nearest VA or ID center, you can get your veterans ID card. And that'll give you access to any PX or commissary in your local area or anywhere you go that has a military base that has those. Now, are you referencing the like VA? Yeah, the VA home loan where you serve 6 years part-time. Is that what you're referencing? I was told you need 180 consecutive active duty days to hit the veteran status. Negative. Negative. You are a veteran. Blake says, my question was skipped. Nope, I read all your questions. I even scrolled back up just to verify because I saw your question saying that I had skipped you. But go ahead, repost your question. There's not a lot of people in here tonight. Eric S. says, why is the Marine Corps the best branch? That's going to be subjective. But, I mean, if you like eating rainbow crayons, then definitely go to the Marine Corps. I'm just messing with you. I don't think they're the best. I don't think not any one branch of service is the best. Maybe the best branch for you, but if they're the best branch, then why they have the highest non-career, like why do they have the worst retention rates if they're the best? Because they suck at taking care of their Marines. JC Miller, does Stripes for Buddies count towards a rank advancement if you have been MOS qualified and assigned to your unit? No, Stripes for Buddies is, no, actually, the federal one is still good. So for the Guard, at least for the New York Army National Guard, the Stripes for Buddies is only good until you ship out to training, but the federal one will allow you to get promoted all the way up to specialist. So it'll still be available to you until you get to specialist, until they rescind that message. Kyle says, thought the Navy was the best. Well, the Marine Corps are a sub-branch of the Navy. So all these Marines, I think they're better than. So like this is the mentality of the Marines, right? The Marine Corps mentality is, here are the Marines, here's God, Jesus Christ, and Holy Spirit, and then this is everyone else. That's their mentality. But at the end of the day, your papi, your big daddy, is the United States Navy. So the Marine Corps, in my opinion, are just glorified seamen. That's it. Yes, Giuseppe, I was corrected because I was under the same assumption, but somebody that knows a little bit more about that than me corrected me. So you need 1 day of status to be a veteran. Now, there are requirements to qualify for specific benefits like the VA home loan and the VA small business loan. That needs 6 years part-time or 90 or 180 consecutive days of active duty No, I think it's 90. I have a quick text. I'll tell you right here. VA home loan. Let's see if it comes out. Yeah, 90 consecutive days to qualify for federal active duty. Qualifying federal active duty time of 90 consecutive days or more will automatically get you the VA home loan and the VA small business loan eligibility, or 6 years part-time. But again, veteran status is just 1 day in paid status. Ultimate Drive, shout out to the best recruiter out there. Let it tuning. Oh, I edited tuning in. That's what I'm talking about. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you. We got Isaac Roger. I'm at AIT in Fort Eustis, Virginia. Just found out I'll be stationed in Korea for my first unit. Out freaking staying. That must be pretty exciting. That must be pretty exciting. Eric S. says, you don't qualify for VA benefits unless you serve 2 years, unless you served less due to service-related injury. Unfortunately, Eric, you are misinformed, because I even included the official link to the Veterans Affairs if you would like to read it and educate yourself, and next time have an articulate response based on facts, not what you think. You ain't lying there, Eric. You ain't lying there. Kyle Forbes says, I was U.S. Naval Sea Cadet, decided to work civil life, currently now, got a house with no mortgage, 401ks, built strong. Now I'm wanting to join the U.S. Air Force Reserves at age 25. Nothing wrong with that. I know somebody that started in the Army National Guard, switched to the Air National Guard, and is now in the Navy. I guess he's like Pokemon, got to collect them all. You know what I mean? And the funny thing is, he's like, got like 20 years of service, all in reserve like capacity, and he's still a specialist. And it's because he keeps switching branches. Oh, man. I'm talking about the healthcare VA benefits, not the other stuff. So to get VA health benefits, it's not just simply completing 2 years of service. It's got to be related to an injury if it's less than 20 years. Otherwise, you have to do 20 years to retire from active duty to get health benefits. Now, I'm not sure if you retire from the Guard or Reserve, if you're eligible for free healthcare for the rest of your life when you retire, but I do know for active duty you do, and I will be able to confirm that in the very, very near future, because I forgot I didn't post a video about it yet, so I'm not going to share it, but big things are happening. Big things are happening. Just know that. Best believe. Blake said, never mind. Did you step out, Blake, and come back in? And then you missed my response? Is that what it was? You tuned into somebody else's live stream? You cheating on me, Blake? You cheating on me? This person says they're laughing out loud. I can verify being active duty Army recruiter. Team Swartz speaks valid truth with his videos. I always send my applicants to watch his Tapas video. Hell yeah, that's what I'm talking about. So Nestra RX, do I know you? Have we spoken before, like offline, like on a Facebook group or Instagram page or anything like that? But I do appreciate you sending people my Tapas videos. Hopefully you're getting as much results with that video as I am getting from that information as well. And again, thank you for your compliment. I really do appreciate that. This is probably the first time in years that I'm all caught up, and it's only been 33 minutes. Usually I'm 30 minutes behind schedule at this point. This is amazing. So I got to wrap it up and call it a night? Am I that boring now? Am I that disconnected from society? Let me know. I think it's because I've been taking a knee and taking a break. Between life as a recruiter and my mom dying back in September, I guess you'll have to wait for my video to come out, because I'm going to be sharing I'm going to be getting vulnerable with you guys and giving you a sneak peek of what happens in my brain and what's been going on in my life. So we'll see. Who was the oldest recruit that I ever contracted? Let's see. By name or like age? You wouldn't know him by name, obviously. But the oldest person I ever got an age waiver approved for was 40. For a non-prior, I think it was like 43 years old, 42 years old. Okay, yeah, it was age. Yeah, I think it was like 42, 43 years old. Ultimate, oops, what did I do? I clicked on something. Hang on. The Ultimate Drive says, hang on, did I skip somebody? No. So Ultimate Drive says, MEPS and ASVAB videos are helpful. I recommend them to anyone thinking about joining. Fair warning, MEPS is slower than anything. Whew. It's one of my pet peeves. And I got so much to share. When I retire, I'm telling you, man, I'm going to be doing a roast session on MEPS. So you want to be on the lookout for that. Roasting MEPS, telling stories, man, telling them exactly where to go, how I feel about them, with no repercussions. Why? Because I'm going to be sleeping with my DD214 blanket. What are you going to do for me? Or what are you going to do to me, rather? No worries, Mr. Black. C'est la vie, as they say in French. That is life, my friend. Just don't take your parents for granted. You never know when their time is coming. Or yours. Phoebe Watson says, how do I tell my parents I want to join the Army? They didn't really seem supportive in the past. Or should I just tell them like it's a simple thing? Phoebe, real quick. How old are you? And are you living alone or under the roof of your parents? With them. How old are you again? 16. Oh, sorry, I need my reading glasses. Getting old, folks. I'm getting old. I'm not kidding. I got reading glasses now. All right, cool. So I'm going to share this video, and you can watch this video later. But in my 21 years of experience as a recruiter, and this is a flex, and I don't know if it's because it's me or if it's because I'm in the National Guard, but every parent that I've ever sat down with, I've gotten them to go from, hell no, my son or daughter ain't joining, to, all right, I don't like the idea, but I'll support their decision. Only one parent I lost, and it wasn't my applicant, and I was really surprised. But me personally, every kid that was willing to sit down with me, with their parent, and the parents were willing to sit down with me, I got them to change their mind. The biggest reason why I think that I'm able to convert them into believers is because a lot of times they are misinformed. I heard from Johnny down the block that said XYZ about the Army. Also, depending on if you're coming from another country and you're like the first or second generation, right? Sometimes those types of parents want you to be like an engineer, a lawyer, or a doctor, and they want to live vicariously through you because they gave up their life to bring you to America to get the American dream. And they want to make sure that you're successful by pushing you into doing something that you may or may not necessarily want to do. So tip number one, I would say, is to figure out their concerns and be like a recruiter. So when I'm sitting down with an applicant and I ask them, for example, like, why do you want to join? I want to go to school. Oh, okay, cool. So you want to go to school. So what is that going to do for you? And then they'll tell me that. All right, cool. So let's say you get that degree. What is that degree going to do for you? Like, are you looking to work for a specific organization or this, that, whatever? Like, let's peel back the onion and figure out, in your case, what their concerns are. Is it fear for your life? Like, are they afraid you're going to die? Are they just afraid to allow you to fly out the nest and be alone? Like, you have to figure out their true concerns. And you know your parents better than anyone, right? So what I would recommend, if you can, and if you're willing to, at the very least, because you're 18, you don't need their permission to join. All right. So anytime we needed a parental consent as a 17-year-old, that parental consent is not to join. It is to take the medical exam because you're under the age of 18. That is what the permission slip is for. So you don't need permission to join, and you're 18. So by all legal means, you are eligible to make your own life decision by joining the military. However, I want to heed the warning that you do still live under their roof. So it would be in your best interest to gain their support. So I recommend that you take the ASVAB test, knock out the medical exam, get yourself pre-qualified. You're going to use this video here to do your own research in addition to whatever your recruiter shares with you, right? This video is going to help you figure out what job skills you're going to qualify for in the Army, right? And from there, in addition to whatever you discuss with your recruiter, you're going to figure out your why you want to join. How is the Army or your branch of service that you're trying to join going to help you achieve your goals cheaper, faster, and better? Knowing how and what the Army is going to do for you will help you articulate and back up your why. So if you're going to your parents with the interest of joining without knowing anything else, it is just that, an interest. So you have no ammunition to counter what it is that they're concerned about. So that's the first thing I would do. Second thing, again, is figuring out their concerns and maybe talking to your recruiter ahead of time to figure out how you can overcome those concerns and get them warm to the idea of sitting down with your recruiter so that we can, one, not just say that we care about you and set you up for success, but our body language and the way we speak with them, we can convey to them that we genuinely care for your well-being and your future and how this is going to enhance your life rather than detract you from your personal goals. And let's say push comes to shove and they want you to be in college per se, like you can still be full-time and do it. It's going to be much slower. So I'll add this video in here in case you're contemplating on going like guard or reserve, right? I mean, well, I have that video too, but active duty versus reserve and guard, because there's a pros and cons to both of those. And I think I do a pretty fair job in doing just that. And hopefully your recruiters are able to convey that they genuinely care about you and your well-being, that they're going to take good care of you, and that, you know, this is going to help you achieve your goals. And a lot of times it's just like talking about deployments, keeping it 100, you know, like I think that's why people end up trusting me, is because like when I'm expressing the Army, like I knock out like the biggest concerns in my initial like 10-minute spiel about who we are, what we do, generically what we have to offer you based on your initial motivators of why you want to join. And then we start peeling the onion back and all that good stuff, right? So understanding your why and how it's going to help you will help you articulate it. Now, you're not the recruiter, so it would be in your best interest to have your recruiter with you if you're dead serious about joining and you fail to obtain their approval. Then I would definitely recommend that you coordinate a meeting with your parents, with your recruiters. That's what I would recommend. So yeah, but check out that parents video I sent too. And if you're thinking about going to college, I do have a video on that too. I got a video on just about anything. So, but I appreciate you, Phoebe, and good luck with your parents. I'm rooting from you from afar. And Mr. Black, oh yeah, we'll talk about that. Okay. So Kyle says, I'm in Pennsylvania looking. Oh, hang on, Kyle. I got a super chat coming in, so I gotta show the respect to the support to the channel. All right, so I got a super chat coming in from Nyquillis. Appreciate you. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. Let me scroll down and see if they said something. And they did. They said, here we go. Hell yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Appreciate you. And you're very welcome, Phoebe. Thank you, Nyquillis. Means a lot to me. Where was I? Oh, here we go. Kyle. All right, here we go. In Pennsylvania, looking to become a tactical repairer or be structural maintenance for U.S. Air Force. Should I go PA Air Guard or going to the U.S. Air Force so I can stay in PA? I'm okay with whatever OH is. Not sure what OH is, but I'm assuming you mean the Air Force Reserve or the Air Guard. Is that correct? If you're still here, Kyle. So I don't know much about the Air Force. Oh, Ohio. Okay, perfect. But confirm with me, is that you're debating between guard and reserve? Okay, perfect. So I just posted a video titled "The Guard versus Reserve: Similarities, Differences, and all that good stuff." Although I am Army, the information which I share with you is pretty much the same for either one. All right, they're both in the Air Force, so one or the other. So understand that the reserve is federal, and that's it. The Air Guard is going to be state and federal. So you get access to both state and federal benefits in the reserve, the National Guard versus the reserve. So if you're going to be a college student, then I would highly recommend that you go Air Guard for that reason alone, because and you can, if you weren't here earlier when I posted it, this will explain it about the state benefits for the Guard. That's going to be hands down your best option. All right. If you're not planning on going to college, then to each its own. Do your homework, do your research, sit down with both, understand that they're both the same. It's just one is going to be strictly federal. Anywhere in the country they can station you. Guard obviously is going to be stationed within your state. Secondly, you can be activated for state missions in your state in the Guard, in addition to your weekend drills and your annual training and anything else that you'll do within the Air National Guard. Whereas in the Air Force Reserve, you're just doing your 1 week in a month and 2 weeks out of the year. And just like the Guard, any rotations or deployments overseas. So if you want to have the ability to have more money in college and have more to do with your state and helping out your community in times of need, then go Guard. If you're, for a lack of a better phrase, not necessarily saying you are a minimalist, but if you want to be able to keep it to the minimum and still be in the military part-time, then go Air Guard. Air Force Reserve, sorry. But again, do your homework, do your research, figure out what's important to you. And to go through that joining process or the decision-making process, definitely check out this video. Even though it's titled, Don't Join the U.S. Army Until You Watch This, the principles that I talk about in that video can be applied to any branch of service or multiple branches like this. So definitely check out that one too, and good luck to you. And feel free to come back and let me know which one you join. And even though I'm Army, I support you and I appreciate you coming in here and asking me these questions. Will Green, my granddaughter is at the forge right now. Outstanding. She's almost done. She's about to turn blue. So I'm talking about, Will. Congrats. Michelle with the hashtag Team Swartz. Appreciate you. Working on joining at 37 years old, debating between the guard and the reserves. I did watch your video on the difference. Great video. Outstanding. Congrats. Why am I saying congrats? I should say thank you. The real question is, Michelle, now that you've watched the video, do you think that you have the clarity that you were looking for? Or is there something that was missing in the video that is still making you indecisive on which one to choose? Let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts. All right. Christopher Liao says, is funding a factor when it comes to ADOS orders? So I have a video on that too. Funny that you bring that up. So when you're in the Guard or Reserve, there are limited full-time opportunities. So you'll have state opportunities, and then you'll have opportunities at the national level if you're in the Army National Guard. If you're reserve, then the world is your oyster. You can go anywhere in the world on ADOS or AGR orders. Typically, when you go AGR, most slots, if not all, are going to require you to be at least a specialist E4 promotable to sergeant. ADOS, not so much. But if you want low-hanging fruit, depending on the state you're in, there may be other things that are available to you. So in my full-time National Guard reserve video I just posted, for example, our state lists all of our opportunities from civilian to state active duty to federal options within the New York Army National Guard, linked in the description of that video. So that would be like what you would find per state that you're in. Depending on your state, you may have as much or less. New York is considered a large state with a lot that goes on here. So we're more of the exception than the rule, but going full-time in the New York Army National Guard is relatively easy compared to other states. So if you're really looking to go full-time at some point in the reserve, then at least the world is your oyster. You can literally go anywhere in the world. The Guard, again, you're not just restricted to your state. You can pick something that's out of your state. Like, for example, I'm a recruiter right now for the Army National Guard. If I wanted to be an instructor at our recruiting school, I could go there. If I wanted to work at National Guard Bureau, which is like our higher headquarters at like the Pentagon like level, at the national level, I could go work there. I could be a career counselor and go to any one of the training sites. I could go to like Germany and be a career counselor over there as well. So there are opportunities out there that, you know, could be open to you. You just got to be a go-getter. But things are out there. And it's not so much funding. It's a matter of availability. ADOS is funding, yes. But it's also availability because it's minimal. So, JC Miller, good question. What is the process of becoming a recruiter in the National Guard? I can't account for other states, but for our state, you will board. And I will be doing future videos on this. So, JC Miller, I don't know if, and anybody else can chime in on this. Let me know how you feel, because when my big thing happens in the very near future, which I'll be discussing in a future video, I plan on bringing on like a video like this describing like the onboarding process or applying for recruiting and new hire training for those who are becoming a recruiter, and also teaching people how to do and leverage YouTube with their cell phone and a free video editing app on their phone, and how to maximize your efforts on YouTube for prospecting efforts, meaning looking for people like you to join, because it's been highly successful for me. I don't work like a traditional recruiter as a result. So if Rona 2.0 comes here, I know I'll easily still be able to make mission and find people. I don't need to go to schools. I don't need to go to the subways and hand out flyers or community events and do all that annoying, boring stuff. Yeah, so, but to answer your question, the process is you got to be at least a specialist promotable. Sometimes they'll also make it a requirement that you have your first leadership school done, which is your basic leadership course, BLC for short, and have a GT line score of a 110 or better, or have the minimum qualifying score for a waiver, which fluctuates. So I'm not going to tell you what that score is, but there may be a waiver authorized. Secondly, you go, depending on your state, you will interview or board for it. In New York, you board for it. So you report like you're going to the board. They'll have you walk into the room, salute, whatever. They'll have you take a seat. They'll have you talk about yourself. You'll take different questions from different section chiefs or master sergeants or station leaders. And when that's done, you'll open up your presentation that you brought with you or submitted, and you will pitch or teach the thing that you want to sell to them, whatever that may be. They just want to see how comfortable you are in talking in front of people, basically, and sell them on something, right? And as long as you do well on that board, then the section chiefs from there discuss amongst themselves who they want. And that's pretty much how it happens, at least here in New York. And that should be around the same for most states, minus the sales pitch presentation. I don't know how other states do their thing, but that's how we do it. All right, so Wolfman says, is the Air National Guard a component of the Army National Guard, or are they a component of the Air Force? Hashtag Team Swartz. Good question, and thank you for the hashtag Team Swartz. So to answer your question, no. The Army National Guard falls under the Department of the Army. We are like, so there's Big Army, right? That's the big umbrella. And then they have their nice, beautiful son called or daughter called the Reserve. And then you have the stepchild, the National Guard over here, that still falls under the Big Army. However, understand that the National Guard, at least the Army National Guard, is the oldest branch of the military. So although the Army was founded in 1776, the Army National Guard was founded in December 13th of 1636, when we are the militia, when we were throwing down our muskets and our farming equipment and go defend our communities in times of need. So with that said, the Air National Guard falls under the Air Force. So they follow the Air Force regulations. The Army National Guard follows the Army regulations and all that stuff. So hopefully that makes sense. Aman Sunil, appreciate you. Hello, hello. Ultimate Drive says, I can vouch Swartz keeps it all the way real. Appreciate you. Thank you, man. Or gal. Appreciate you. Thank you for that. Nike Willis says, any knowledge on the SMP program? My local National Guard recruiter recommended to me due to my situation. It's not my forte. I'm not heavily knowledgeable in it. The few things that I do know is that to SMP, simultaneous membership program, you have to start in the fall semester and have at least 2 years left to commission as an officer and graduate from college. So it's usually the last 2 years of your 4-year degree or a master's program, a 2-year program, essentially. It is a great way of doing it because you're adding the military science to your education. It is going to be more challenging because you're going to have to report early in the morning for PT, physical training, on top of your normal stuff in college. So it can be mentally and physically taxing, but totally doable. And it is a great way to commission as an officer. But what are your specific questions to that? And if I know the answer, I'll let you know. If not, I do know people that can get you the truest, most updated answers, because that's what they do. Like, that's what their main focus is. They're like college campus recruiters, and they can definitely talk to you about the SMP program. JC Miller says, 12 Bravo is my contract MOS with the South Carolina Army National Guard. How are units selected for deployments, federal and state? Hurricane Irene on the way. Gotcha. All right, so excellent MOS. A lot of fun. You'll blow some stuff up. All right, so when it comes to federal deployments, the country or Congress basically pre-plans things out 3 to 5 years in advance. So, for example, the South Carolina Army National Guard will be notified a few years in advance. Hey, listen, sir, meaning the general, the tag, the adjutant general, We may be going here to do XYZ, just giving you a heads up. So then they'll relay the message to whatever units that might be on the chopping block for a potential deployment. Hey, get your heads right, get training seriously done, and 2 standard, and yada, yada, yada. And then once you actually receive your warning order, a few years later, it's called a WARNO for short. It's a document that states the name of the mission, the requirements, what you're going to be doing, everything about it. Now, initially, everyone's going to be on the chopping block for this said deployment. So I'll try to keep it as simple as possible. So let's say there's 100 people in your unit. And this is like something I would describe when I'm talking to my unit in their initial interview so that they understand, like, if you're going to deploy, this is what you should expect. So there's 100 people in your unit, and let's say there's like 14 people in your section. And let's say you're a mechanic, a light-wheeled vehicle mechanic. And for this specific deployment, only 10 of you are required to go. So out of 14, only 10 have to go. So in this example, at first, everyone is on the roster. Everyone will redo their medical exam, police record check, sex offender check, and those people get weeded out. Let's say 1 out of 14 of you has a medical condition or comes up pregnant, or they were hiding a law violation, so you drop one. So it's 13 out of 10 of you that have to go, right? So that means 3 of you don't have to go. Anywho, a light turned off by itself, and I have like 3 lights in there, so I don't know why it turned off. But anyhow, where was I? So let's say everyone's weeded out and 13 are remaining. Now, let's say you don't want to go on the deployment because let's say you're a college student and you'd rather stay in college versus going to get deployed. So 3 of you don't have to go. So it's first come, first serve. Who wants to go? Look for volunteers. And if all 10 volunteer and you don't want to go, in this example, you're not going because 3 of you aren't going, 10 volunteered. Now, let's say 10 have to go and 4 of you got hit for medical law violation and whatever. That means only 10 of you are left that are eligible for the deployment, and they need 10. So guess what? Now you're going, and that's how you're going to get deployed that way. I've also seen it where, let's say you were highly, highly excited and you can't wait to go on this deployment. But you know what? Johnny Snotnose from another unit knows somebody that wants to give him a favor or ask for a favor. Next thing you know, you're now bumped off that deployment roster and somebody else is taking your slot and you are asked out of that deployment. I've seen that happen too. So that's how the federal deployments work, right? When it comes to state activations, they're not planned, we're reacting to. So deployments, years in development, a minimum of a year preparation for that deployment. And once you are selected to go somewhere, like I said, throughout that whole year, you'll have extended drills, maybe an additional 2-week, 3-week annual training thrown somewhere in the mix. And then you'll do your deployment. For state activations for, let's say, Hurricane Irene or Aaron, you're reacting to. So something like that, you could plan a few days in advance. But if it's like another September 11th or a forest fire, you got hours, right? So you're reacting to those types of things. Now, if it's something that's going to be more than a couple of days or a couple of weeks, you might initially be activated for something like that. And then once the dust settles and things become more routine, then they'll ask for volunteers who want to stay. And if anyone wants to go back to work, like maybe you say you make a heck of a lot more money on the civilian side, or you're a college student, you have other reasons to why you don't want to be on that state activation, then once you're backfilled, then that's when you're released from that state activation. So that's pretty much how those two things work. Okay. Good question. You says, I met with an Army recruiter and he just told me to stay away from some jobs and he didn't say anything about those jobs. I'm not sure what that means. I met a recruiter and he just told me to stay away from some jobs and he didn't say anything about those jobs. If you're still here, did you at least take the ASVAB test? And then he gave you a list of jobs that he wants you to consider. Like, could you give me a little more context? I'm not sure exactly what it is that you're trying to say. Leah says, random question, but I finished with my MEPS and I'm waiting to sign my contract. Once my recruiter comes back from a long break, what merch do I get the day I sign with my, like the swag? Gotcha. I'm not sure if you're going guard or regular Army or reserve. So it really depends on, like, all I give my guys is a backpack, a limited edition Team Swartz coin that looks like this. Hang on, let me grab it. This is the new one right here. This is the new coin. I don't know if you can see it. This is the back side. But so yeah, I give him that coin. I give him a backpack and pretty much whatever's lying around, I throw in there, you know, whatever cheesy freebies that we have. But they appreciate that. That's more or less what I do. Some places will have t-shirts. It really depends. Michelle says, video between the Guard and Reserve, wasn't missing anything. I did MOS research and looking at 31 Bravo, which is military police, which is available in both. But then I saw the 31 Kilo for Arizona. It's reserve only. So we'll boil down job. All right. So 31 Kilo is considered a unicorn MOS. So if it's available and that's what you truly want, then I would say go for it. The only way you become a 31 Kilo in the Army National Guard is being in a military unit. And let's say they get slotted to do a year rotation at Guantanamo Bay, which is like a military prison. Then they'll be asking for volunteers to do 31 Kilo training, and they'll work with a dog for that rotation. Now, the other factor that you're probably going to be thinking as part of your decision-making process is, do you need the college money? That's the only time I would say go guard. Otherwise, when something like this pops up where like 31 Kilo is an amazing opportunity to work with dogs, and that's something that's important to you, then I would say, to me, that's a no-brainer. Go 31 Kilo. But usually 31 Kilo is a lateral position from a 31 Bravo. So if it is offered to you straight from the jump, then I would say go for it. Otherwise, in most cases, you'll have to join a 31 Bravo and eventually laterally switch over to 31 Kilo at some point throughout your contract. But good luck to you. And Michelle is working on weight loss. I don't know if you were here for this video earlier, just something you might want to check out and see if it's something you might want to do or check out. This is my Team Swartz fat loss strategy to join. Might be worth a watch. Maybe you have just as much success in it than I had at that time. Oh yeah, I talked about that. Christopher Liao says, in New York National Guard, 258 field artillery. Hell yeah. So that means I probably know you. I can't even see your photo because it's so small on my screen. So I can't see if I know you or not. JG says, how hard is it to request schools as a prior service 74 Delta who reclassed to 11 Bravo? JG, are you going back into active duty or the National Guard? And when you say schools, do you mean like airborne schools and such, like Sapper, Ranger, and stuff like that? Or what are you talking about specifically? Piney Woods 4 says, I and other 8,000 troops, Marines, and Army got forced out of the military from COVID refusal in 2022. I refused to go to another unit. They forced me out too. Yeah, I actually just put somebody in that was in the same boat as you. She was, well, she wasn't forced out. It's just that her ETS date came up, And what annoys me is, in my opinion, they didn't need to flag her because she was ending her contract in the middle of COVID. So she could have just ETS'd out and that was it. But she too refused the Rona, the jab, and I don't even know if it was a waiver or just a suitability, but it was dumb easy. So if you wanted to come back in, too easy. JG, how are the request schools? Airborne, Air Assault, there we go. Pathfinder and Mountain School and Ranger for prior service, 12 years, 74 Delta, who reclassed 11 Bravo. If your PT scores are good, I would say, obviously they're not going to give it to you from the jump, so you're going to have to rub elbows with people, make a good impression, go above and beyond what's expected of you. Be a good soldier. And yes, the infantry tend to have a lot more funding for those types of opportunities. And typically they want you to have a very high AFT score. So yeah, I think eventually getting to schools won't be a problem, especially if your PT is good and you are a likable go-getter in the unit. Because of the simplicity of it, the pizza one. I like the pizza one, ironically. Pennywood says, I have learned a big lesson. It don't matter how many years you serve in the military. Honorable is matter. Honorable is matter, whatever that means. Sorry, man. I don't follow. Having a bald moment, equivalent to a blonde moment. Paul, hashtag Team Swartz. Can a athletic 45-year-old male join the Army? So if you're trying to go regular Army Reserve, no chance in hell. They're capped out at 43 years old. Army National Guard, and well, all right. So I'll put it this way: the oldest non-prior service individual to ever get an age waiver approved for the Army National Guard was 47 years old. However, the general consensus against for recruiters is that the age cutoff is 42, 43 years old. Don't even submit a waiver after that because it's not going to get approved. But reality is, when we got our training in class from the waiver department at the national level, who came to teach us a class this January, said full send, just send it. You never know. And the reason why they say send it is because you never know. We may approve it. Like the highest waiver we ever approved was 47 years old. So your biggest hurdle is finding a recruiter that would be willing to take you for the ASVAB test, the medical, and submit an age waiver. So it can be done. I'm not going to say it's easy. It's going to be a challenge. It has to be for a very strong, meritorious reason. I highly recommend that your character reference letters would include like your local congressman, your local senator, right? Some high value persons submitting a recommendation letter to serve your country at 45 years old. That carries a lot of weight, and it does matter at the waiver department. Hint, hint, stomp, stomp. Just saying. That's like a military thing where like we say hint, hint, like it's going to be on the test kind of thing. You know what I'm saying? So hashtag I'm just saying. Sylvan, I'm not going to pronounce that last name. The waiver for the National Guard did not receive approval, so I visited the regular Army recruiter and presented the waiver that the National Guard recruiter had submitted. However, it was not currently submitted from his end. Could you please clarify what this means? So is your new regular Army recruiter saying that it was not submitted on his end, as in your new recruiter, or his end, as in the National Guard recruiter? Please clarify for here. Okay, so you're saying that the Army National Guard recruiter flubbed the paperwork. fumbled the ball, didn't have accurate information. That was why it was not approved. All right, I can see that. So are you looking to go back to the National Guard and show him the inconsistencies and inaccuracies of their piss poor performance on their waiver processing abilities and appeal that waiver denial? Is that what you're asking me for? Or are you gonna try to go regular Army or Reserve? All right, so Nicola says situation enlisted vet, currently first year sophomore, age 33, and I have no desire to go enlisted again. I want a commission after college into the Guard. What is your no bullshit assessment? All right, so you have two options. I'm going to post this video if you're still here. Let me know in the chat box, Nicholas, if you're still here. So I'm dropping a video that's going to break down to you the three possible OCS, Officer Candidate School program options that you have as a National Guard soldier. But if you're going to reserve or active duty, then you only have the federal option. So with the federal option, it's not going to be an option for you because I believe the cutoff is between 32 to 34 years old. So as long as you're going Army National Guard, then you're stuck with the two state options. So if you go the OCS route and not the ROTC route, OCS, you can begin the part-time state traditional OCS program, which is 1 week in a month with 2 annual trainings. It starts usually around the early springtime and it ends in August. So it's like one class for the whole year. And if during that traditional OCS program, you're really, really good at PT, you're really, really good at land navigation, and you are one high-speed mother flower, they may offer you the state accelerated OCS option, and that is I think they reduced it to 8 weeks. It was 9 weeks, but I believe it's 8 weeks now for that accelerated OCS course. So that's another option for you. And if I had to weigh out the options, if you don't want to do early morning PT in college and take on the military science class on Fridays, in addition to whatever that you have going on in your regular college schedule, then I would say go OCS. You can start the state OCS program if you have a minimum of 90 college credits. As long as you have a GT line score of a 110 or better, U.S. citizen, can qualify for a secret clearance, good financial history, then I would recommend go state OCS and do it that 1 week in a month. And allow the recruiting command to, well, the video will explain it, but allow the recruiting command to take the risk on you and take that route versus telling your recruiter to wait just because they want an easy enlistment. So going OCS from the rip, if qualified for it at the time that you're applying, if your recruiter tells you to go enlist it first and then drop your packet, they're just looking for the easy number and not necessarily taking care of you. The difference between the two, like I said before, if you join straight from the rip into OCS, then the recruiting command takes the risk on you, which is a lot easier because we want you to join, right? Conversely, if you join first as an enlisted soldier and then try to go OCS, you need to be recommended by an officer. If that officer doesn't think that you're confident enough or outgoing enough or outspoken or don't have that like command presence, or that they feel or think that you might make them look bad, then they won't give you that recommendation letter. And then you're kind of like stuck. You know what I'm saying? So if you're eligible for OCS, I would say go that route. But OCS is hard because you can't miss any OCS drills. You can't get sick. You can't get injured. You're likely to have to take an Army fitness test every month when you go to drill. So it's very challenging, right? So, but those are the pros and cons a little bit of both of those. So hopefully that makes sense. Still here, Nick Willis. All right, good stuff. Hopefully you just heard everything I said. JG, disciplinary issues, lots of soldiers fraternization that ended in Article 15, drinking and drugs. Shoot, what was your question before that? Oh, I think was it JG, was that for me or somebody else that you're talking to? Yeah, I don't think that was for me. Oh, Liaz. Okay. Yeah, you were okay for the swag. Gotcha. All right. So I have the ASVAB next week. When I met with my recruiter, he just said, stay with 13 uniform, 11 Charlie, 12 Bravo, 13 Romeo, and 13 Juliet. He doesn't want me to go active duty, and he wants me to do reserve. I think I know why. He wants you to stay away from those MOSs. Because the Army Reserve don't have any combat MOS for you to join. All right. So that eliminates all the 13 series and all the 11 series, with the exception if there was a slot available and they were willing to put you in the Washington State. They have one single infantry unit in the entire nation, and that's the only location. So getting 11 Bravo or 11 Charlie there ain't happening for you. So any of the 13 series, 12 Bravo, any of those combat jobs, none of those are going to be available in the Army Reserve. That's why he doesn't want you to have those. So listen, if you want to go active, you go active. The reason why he's pushing you to go reserve is because he's caring more about his metrics, because maybe he already has enough people to meet his active duty quota, and now he needs to meet his reserve quota. Or you may be talking, because I forgot what they're called on active duty. So there's Dassers, and then there is I think Romeos, 79 Romeos. Either way, one is a careerist, someone who's a long-term recruiter like me for the reserve, and that's like their bread and butter. Like they recruit primarily for the reserve. And then you have your active duty recruiter that can recruit for both. But either way, you can recruit for both. He's probably just behind on his reserve mission, and that's probably why he's pushing to go reserve. And if he's pushing reserve, that explains why he's not offering those jobs, because those jobs are only available to the National Guard or active duty, because they don't have any combat assets for you to look at joining in the reserve. That's why those are not available. So hopefully that makes sense, and that opens up the shines the light on the confusion or possible hidden agenda. Sylvan says, my waiver was rejected by the Army National Guard. Consequently, I attempted to join the regular Army and presented the disapproval of the waiver from the Army National Guard. The Army that was submitting to the American information. Okay. I still want to go regular Army. So then go regular Army. What's stopping you from going regular Army? Did the waiver get approved? Did they submit it? Did it also get denied from regular Army? I feel like I'm in suspense here. It says that, okay, so it says that you will go regular Army. So did your waiver get approved? Let me know. Chris says, how do you reschedule an appointment with a recruiter after the recruiter calls and says that they can't make it? Could you give me a little more context? Is this for the initial interview? Is this scheduling for the ASVAB and medical? Give me a little more detail if you don't mind, Chris. Nicola says, is ROTC option out of the question, and do I qualify for ROTC since I'm using my post 9/11 benefit? So, Nicolas, you can study military science for the hell of it, but you're not going to be. You missed the eligibility requirements for ROTC to commission as an officer. So, if you watch my OCS video, I can't remember if it was 32 or a 34, but you have to commission by that age. So if you watch the video, I don't remember off the top of my head if it's 32 or 34. If that is the case, then ROTC to commission as an officer is not an option for you. So you're only restricted to guard OCS if you want to commission as an officer. So what you can do is join the Army National Guard through the state OCS option, commission. Once you complete BOLIC, your basic officer leadership course, at the end of that contract, you can contact the HRC, Human Resources Command, and initiate a transfer to active duty. And now you can go active duty as an officer, and you use the National Guard as the back door to get what you want in the end. So that's a possibility too. Hopefully you're still here. Now, Chris G, how many times has your recruiter rescheduled you for your initial interview? Enrique says, any MOS that you recommend? I've looked at 15 Tango and 31 Bravo, and to be honest with you, both of them are really, really good. Which one do you believe that you'll be able to use out in the real world when you go back out of the military, or when you leave the military? Which one do you think that you're more inclined to pursue opportunities using outside of the military? Either one of those two, or is it just they just sound interesting to you and you wouldn't mind doing it? Is that kind of like what you're doing here, or what's up? Let me know. Because honestly, my advice, insights, and things for you to factor in your decision-making process is going to be in the video that is which Army MOS is the best. Those are my honest thoughts and opinions about you going through your decision-making process on which job that you're looking to join for. Because honestly, my opinion really does not matter. Because my opinion is based on my value system, my interests, my deal breakers. They may not be in the same wavelength as you. You're a totally different person than I am. Different interests, different hobbies, different goals. We're in different seasons of our lives. You know what I'm saying? So check out my video. It should shine some light and give you some insights to help you navigate that thought process in the options and opportunities that you can choose and select and make the best decision for your case and circumstances. Hopefully that makes sense. Good luck to you. So Matthew, went to MEPS March of this year. Doctor said I was clear to enlist. Once I sent them the LASIK eye surgery paperwork, I didn't send it yet and told my recruiter I was holding off to get married. Did my medical expire? No, your medical is good for 2 years. 2 years from that date. So you'll be in there like swimwear, submit it, get cleared, and you can join as a married man or person, depending. You never know. Chris G, this was the first time. All right. So maybe he just got busy or something came up last minute. Did you reach back out to your recruiter to see if you can reschedule that interview? If so, what did he say or she say? It was the first time I talked to this recruiter because it's for the Navy. Got you. Well, I do have some Navy friends that I'm not interested in, that I am part of a Facebook group of like elite recruiters. So if you're looking for a Navy recruiter that you would be able to work remotely with, or maybe in the same area as you, what state are you from? And if you want, you can direct message me on Instagram at TEAM SWARTZ. This is the link. And I will find one closest to you if I can. And we'll take it from there. You says, just finished a 4-year degree. He said he didn't like officers. My goal is active duty, but when he doesn't want me to make, he doesn't want me to go make me think he could screw me up and hide other MOS. What? Let me read this to myself instead of out loud. Gotcha. Well, if you do your own research with my MOS video that I posted, right? I have an Excel sheet. If I failed to mention this before, I have an Excel sheet that's linked in the description area. So you plug in your line scores and you can tell your recruiter that you qualify for, in this example, to be an officer, and tell him that your personal opinion has no reflection on my values and what I want to do. And respectfully, I disagree with your opinion. And if I want to go officer, you owe it to me to go to the board and state my case. And if my board approves my officer request, then I would like to go officer. Yes, we enlisted folks tend to not like officers in general because of their pompous attitudes. They think they're better than whatever. They're just annoying most times. But how do I say this? Your recruiter is looking for an easy number. So what you don't know or are aware of, we're basically at the 10-yard line of the ending of our fiscal year. So you live life by a calendar year, January through December. The military lives from October through September. So next month is the last month of our fiscal year, and Big Army typically closes their quota and their missions by mid-September, so by like September 15th. And I would suspect that the main reason why they don't want you to go become an officer right now is that more than likely the officer board had already happened for the month of August. The earliest officer board will be next month, which will be too late for you to be added onto his quota, his mission for this fiscal year. So he's hoping, he's praying that you take his word for it and go in as an enlisted soldier. So if you want active duty and you want to be a commissioned officer and you meet the eligibility requirements, having a 3.8 GPA, GT line score of 110 or better, U.S. citizen, and board well, then become an officer. Now, having a 3.8 GPA is not a requirement, but understand that when you go not guard, but if you're going reserve or active duty, the board or to commission is very, very competitive. So they typically want you to be a 3.8 or better, but you can have whatever GPA you have and still compete, and you never know. Just understand that they usually typically want higher GPAs. If you're going guard as an officer, your GPA don't mean crap. Don't matter if you got a degree in basket weaving, as long as you got the requirements to join, and you'll be in there like swimwear. But hopefully that makes sense to why he's pushing for enlisted and not offering officer. He's worried about him or herself and not for what you want. So go get what you want. And if you need help finding an Army recruiter, I got you. Say less, fam. Hit me up. I got recruiters that will work remotely with you if needed and get you in as soon as possible with what you want that you're qualified for. All right. So this person says, studying for the ASVAB, gonna join the Air Force, trying to study. I forget easily when I do. What should I do? Read certain points more and try to remember. Got you. So excellent choice, the Prowler Soldier, and all my best tips and insights and free resources and one recommended paid resource is linked in the description of that video. I believe there are 48 free resources to assist you in studying. I break down what is the ASVAB, how it's rated, graded, and the different types and all kinds of different things that you would possibly want to know about the ASVAB, to include my recommendations on how to study, what to focus on, testing tips, all that stuff, all in that video. So definitely go check it out. Good luck to you, and hopefully you get into the Air Force. Alex says, I'm going to basic training in October. Usually they do the naturalization until the end of basic, right? No. If you're going Army, what I recommend is that you go to the USCIS website, you download the N400 and the N426. If you're National Guard, that can get completed and signed by the 06 before you leave. If not, the reason why I'm saying to print them out and to complete them is because you're going to carry it with you in a Ziploc bag while you're going through the in-process of basic training and stuff. So when you actually get to the basic training site, our drill sergeants are going to ask you by a show of hands, who here is applying for U.S. citizenship? They'll do what they need to do. You'll complete the N400 and N426 to their standard while you're there. They will submit it. They'll give you a study guide. Throughout basic training, y'all will take the written and verbal exams. And as long as your background check and all that stuff goes well and you're on track to graduate, sometimes it'll happen before you graduate, but usually, typically what ends up happening is on the graduation day, 30 days before your graduation ceremony, you will have your U.S. citizenship swear-in ceremony prior to your basic training graduation. So you'll usually get it by the time you graduate from basic. Worst case scenario, AIT, an absolute worst case scenario within 30 days of you coming back from AIT. But that's super rare these days. Everyone's getting it at basic training now. I am almost done, about to take it again. Okay, cool. Chris says, they did not give me a phone number for the recruiter. Oh, I see what you're saying. So you called up, let's say, like the 800 hotline to get in contact with your recruiter, and the hotline set up an appointment, but the actual recruiter said that that doesn't work for them, and they canceled it, and now you're looking to reschedule. Is that what you're saying? That's funny. Leggy says, bro, I signed for my job when they closed all the jobs at MEPS. Lucky as F that I got the job I wanted. 46 Victor. Hell yeah, 46 Victor. Man. I'm low-key jelly. Man, I wish I could be a 46 Victor. Or combat cameraman. I think that's 25 something. Could be wrong. But 46 Victor, right up my alley, man. Chris G says exactly. Shoot, what was I talking about? Oh, okay. So did they give you a contact number for your recruiter, and did you reach back out to see if you can reschedule? Riker, I'm waiting for the chat to populate into StreamYard, which is the platform I stream off of. I see your comment here. Well, hopefully you don't mind me not highlighting it because it's just not populating into StreamYard yet, but I see it on my iPad so I can see like the actual live because I work from the oldest to the latest comments. Okay, it just populated. Nope, hang on. All right, so will Rangers be there after OSUT training looking for volunteers? There wasn't any options for option 40 when I picked my job. So Riker, are you going active Army or are you going National Guard? Let me know. But in general, if you did not contract with any of those options, typically the training sites, while you're in basic or AIT, they'll be recruiting for people after your Army combat fitness test, or now the Army fitness test, to look for volunteers for those to fill in those slots. All right. If you're at Fort Benning or any one of those combat schools, they'll heavily be recruiting for Rangers and Special Forces and such. So yes, not guaranteed, that you'll get it, but they do recruit directly from the training sites, not afterwards, but during the training sites. Okay. Once you graduate from AIT, if you didn't get any of those options offered to you during the training, then it's up to your unit to have the funding and the slots to be able to send you to school. So Murtaza Kazimi, I see your 2 question marks, but I'm not seeing any other question from you. And I'm looking at all the comments on my iPad here. I'm not seeing any other comments. So that tells me one thing: either it didn't populate into the chat box, or you're using a keyword or phrase that I had blocked for various reasons on my channel, because people be saying some crazy stuff on here sometimes. Matthews, if I work with a recruiter from a different branch, will it affect my medical from March since I didn't give them a LASIK paper? Do I have to submit a new medical form? And then so when you do the ASVAB test and the medical exam, that's good for all branches. It's not exclusive to the branch that you're currently processing with. So if you're wanting to join another branch of service and you're set and you have officially decided to join another branch of service, then you would submit to them your LASIK form, whatever form they use for the Air Force, and you would submit that. Just confirm with your Air Force recruiter. If it's not the same form, then they'll give you the appropriate form, and then you get that redone. But typically that evaluation and all that stuff needs to be done within 6 months for your medical review and possible waiver for LASIK. All right. But yeah, that medical is good for all branches, not just for the branch that you process with. Hopefully that makes sense. Not gonna lie, I'm a little under the weather, but I'm in it to win it. I'm in there like swimwear today, and we're making it happen even though I'm sick. Okay. So bear with me. Again, I apologize for the nasalness or the nasally sound in my voice. Eustace, thank you so much. I'll contact you in IG. Have a blessed night. Salutes. Thank you. I doubt you're here now, but appreciate you. Thank you very much. See you in the DMs. Yahir Pelaez just graduated basic training August 7th. Hell yeah. Who a motherfucking Louis. That's what I'm talking about. Congrats. That's what I'm talking about. Hell yeah. Currently in AIT. That's what I'm talking about. Good luck in the next chapter of your Army career. So keep grinding, man. Keep grinding. So Murtaza Kazumi split option. All right. I don't know what you're asking specifically. I'm not seeing any other comment other than this one, but I do have a video talking about split training option. So you can check out that video. Maybe that'll address any concerns or questions that you have that's just not simply showing up on my end for whatever reason. But all I see from you, Murtaza, is split option. That's all I'm seeing. I'm going to do plumbing, or I don't know, just always wanted to look tactical for some reason, ever since I was little. I hear that. That's why, like, everyone growing up, they always want to be a soldier. Nobody grows up, I want to be an airman. I want to be a seaman. I want to be a Coast Guardian. I want to go Space Force. Or Space Force. Riker Howell said active duty for Fort Benning, definitely going for it. So hopefully they will be there. Yes, I think that you'll be fine. Metal Masters Welding LLC. This is my first comment that I'm seeing from you. I'll double check, scroll back up a little bit. That's all I'm seeing from you, my friend. Definitely full send again, maybe. Or DM me on my Instagram if it's not coming through the chat box for whatever reason. Christopher Galovich says, I had to contact the recruitment office directly because they did not give me a number for a recruiter. That's weird. That's their main job, is to pre-screen you, ask all the pertinent questions that we need to know to be able to assess if you're pre-eligible to join, and then give you your local recruiter's information. Christopher, hit me up on my Instagram. Let me know if you're trying to go active, guard, or reserve, and I'll help you find a local recruiter. But it sounds like you already got one, actually, so you should be fine. But good luck. Good luck at MAPS. Says, depends. See where life takes me. I might get it, I might not. That's true. You never know. Yeah, it's not easy being in the Coast Guard, especially the ones that are actually on the water doing their thing, especially during storms and stuff, for sure. Respect to yep, that's why I just said that. Riker says, what's the best and worst thing about your experience in the military? That's a good question. The best and worst thing about my military experience. People. You meet some awesome people in the military. Awesome people. People that you will highly respect. Bonds closer than your family members. And then you'll have people who you just want to punch in the throat. One of the biggest things that makes retention bad in the military is not the job they're currently doing. It's the leadership. Leadership make or break a soldier's desire to continue to serve. In a very near future, I'll be posting a video about this particular topic in my life update video. But I would have to say it's people. Levin Bravo, cool. Fortunately, I'm not seeing any other comment from you, so not sure what that means. But if that's what you are, congrats. Hope you're enjoying that MOS. Murtaza says, can I get U.S. naturalization between 11th and 12th grade through split training option National Guard? Yeah, it's possible. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You just need at least 1 day of paid status to be completed. So absolutely. Just understand that if for some reason, or not if for some reason, if you do get your citizenship, but for some reason you don't complete phase 2, meaning AIT, and not get job qualified, meaning MOS qualified, once you graduate from high school, by failing to get MOS qualified and discharged for whatever reason, your U.S. citizenship can be revoked and you will lose your citizenship and revert back to a permanent resident. At minimum, you have to get MOS qualified to keep and retain your U.S. citizenship. If for some reason you finish your contract or get prematurely discharged after you get MOS qualified, you'll keep your U.S. citizenship. The more you know. Matthew says, the doctor at MEPS didn't say I would need a waiver, just sounded like they were going to take a quick look and approve me. So if I didn't get this LASIK paper in 6 months, I have to start MEPS over. No, you're not starting MEPS over again. Your medical is good for 2 years. So to close out your medical, then you need to give them the LASIK. So typically, if it's been longer than 12 months, you don't normally need a waiver, a medical waiver for LASIK. In the past, we've had to do waivers, but not anymore. It's considered like a routine procedure now. So the only time it becomes a waiver is like your civilian eye doctor or surgeon who does your eyes have their own protocol to how frequently and when they do their follow-up appointments to, make sure everything's good. If that schedule doesn't meet the Army's expectation of when you should be getting evaluated and checked out by your surgeon, then that's when it could turn into a medical waiver. So the Army's perception of when you should be evaluated from post-surgery compared to what they actually do in your surgeon's office, if they defer, that's when you might need a medical waiver. But in general, LASIK is not something that you need a medical waiver for, if that makes sense. JG, the 1800 hotline or the 1-800 hotline just sends your information to the local area, and then sometimes it got you. Well, National Guard, they give you the point of contact because I get emails and text messages, excuse me, and phone calls from potential applicants looking for more information if I fail to reach out to them within a certain amount of time. Oh, gotcha, Chris G. Hey, I got more viewers then, right? Christopher says, is it true I'm the same person as Chris G? Oh, gotcha. Went over my head there for a split second. I watched so much movies and played so much military and even the toys I was younger. Yep, many of us do. Military can have toxicity and corruption even, I bet. Yes and no. Yes and no. Robinson, do you still plan on having a panel with other military branches? I'm interested in joining the Navy or the Air Force. I'm interested in the civil engineering job. Yes. So something like that is that's like I have to coordinate that. Luckily, I'm part of that elite group of recruiters on Facebook, so it should be pretty easy. You know what? Let me see if I can get something set up for like early November or October. October could be like the earliest I could probably do that. I'll make it happen. I'll get on it. More to follow. I love the Amazon Prime. I can watch so many movies. Yep, seen before. It's awesome. Watch so much. That's pretty cool. JG says, majority of those individuals are brown nosers and RTC butter bars, and those are the ones that cause the retention. It's not even officers or just officers. It's just certain leaders, man. They like to get underneath your skin. Last question before I go. How do you become a drill sergeant? Also, just wanted to say I just came across your videos and appreciate the work you're putting in a lot of the upcoming military soldiers. Appreciate it. Thank you very much, Riker, and welcome to my channel. So to become a drill sergeant, you need to be at least a sergeant or a specialist promotable to E5. But when you go through the academy, you have to be promoted to sergeant. And You got to put in a packet if you're in the regular Army or Reserve. If you're National Guard, it's going to be very difficult for you to do it. Usually it's the recruiting command sending people to the Drill Sergeant Academy. But for Reserve and regular Army, you just have to put in a packet. So as long as you got a GT score of 110 or better, you don't have any hits for drug use history, and certain criminal activities, if not all criminal activity, because you're going to be in what we call a position of trust. And you just put in your packet, and as long as they approve you, you can become it. A lot of times, once you hit sergeant or staff sergeant, the Army is what we call, or what they call rather, DA select. So if you're DA selected, sometimes they'll give you the option to be like recruiting or drill sergeant, one or the other, but you got to go one way. Or they could be like, you're becoming a recruiter, or you're going to become a drill sergeant. And that's how it works for them. But if you're volunteering, then yeah, you just have to drop your packet and drop it. Have you ever watched Hacksaw Ridge? Yes. Awesome movie. That's the guy that played Spider-Man. I forgot his name. Brown hair, skinny kid. Yep. Good movie. Robinson says, and he was a medic. And he didn't want to carry weapons. But Robinson, I just started a payment plan for one of my debts that's in collection. How long should I wait before I talk to a recruiter? Right now. Right now. Say that. Stop watching my stream and call your recruiter right now. Maybe not. It's like almost 9 o'clock at night. We're human too. We got families and stuff. But yeah, first thing tomorrow morning, 0900, 9 a.m. for you civilians. Call your recruiter. Be like, yo, man, put me in, coach. As long as you get that payment plan in place that satisfies that, and you should be good to go, depending on, as long as you're otherwise eligible. But looking to go officer, so I will need a clearance. I should have kept reading. Yeah. That's definitely very, very important. Is it more or less than $2,000? I don't believe they're giving those out anymore at basic training. Appreciate that. Thank you. More than 10K. Hang on, was that from you? Oh, yeah. More than 10K. Is this credit card debt, or is this like auto loan, mortgage, student loans? And what was the reason for not paying it on time? These nuts says, if one of my parents do not want me to go into the military, should I wait until I'm 18 or try to convince them? I feel like I answered this already, but it definitely wasn't for you, because I would have remembered these nuts. There's my in-depth video about my insights and advice to deal with parents that don't want you to join. The biggest takeaways, what I suggest is, at minimum, well, first of all, you don't need your parents' permission to join. You need permission from your parents to do the medical exam. So at the very least, if you know they're not going to sign right now, I recommend that you take the ASVAB test. Your recruiter might not share everything with you as far as what MOSs you qualify for, depending on the component of the Army you're trying to go in, and so on and so forth. But with that video I just posted on which Army is the best MOS, there's an Excel sheet linked in the description to help you figure out the MOS that you qualify for. But between your recruiter filtering those out and telling you what you're otherwise generally qualified for, because like the video will make more sense when you watch it, but they'll figure out what can help you reach your goals cheaper, better, and faster, figuring out what your true concerns are from your parents. And then hopefully you can articulate that to your parents to sway them, now that you know factually what the Army can do for you, rather than it just being an interest to you. And then the goal here is to have enough ammunition by taking the test and knowing how the Army can help you help yourself get to where you want to go in life. The goal is to get them to sit down with your recruiter, because we can articulate and for a lack of a better phrase, sell them on the idea of you giving 2 to 4 years of your life to join the military. So the way I also like to look at it, in addition to what I share in the video and what I forgot to share earlier, is let's say you sign up for 3 years, which is the minimum contract period. With the way technology is and everyone growing to be much, much older than in the past, like ever in history, it's likely that you'll live to be 100 years old. And you serve 3 years in the military. That's literally 3% of your entire life. It's a drop in the bucket. You're going to get so much value out of serving. So much you're going to get out of the military experience. And if you don't like it at the end of that 3-year contract, then you don't have to continue serving. You're just asking for 3 years. That's it. 3 years. Hashtag Team SWARTZ coming in from Giuseppe De Rosa. Appreciate you. Thank you. Robinson says it's $10K student loan and credit card total. Gotcha. It's pretty high. If you're going guard, I know our limit, based on prior experience, it's on the lower end of the spectrum, but I have had active duty recruiters tell me that they've had much higher rates get approved. So I don't know what branch of service or a component of the Army rather that you're trying to get into. I'll say that if you're going active, then it's a possibility you can do it now. But if you can get it down to like 5,000, you'll have a much greater chance of getting it approved for your background check. But discuss it with your recruiter and see what you can do from there. All right. And the rhyme or reason to why you are late on those payments is very, very important in how you articulate that to the background investigator for the pre-approval. Alex says, assuming you are going to enlist right after high school, how can you prepare during your 4 years there? Alec, let me share a personal opinion here. I'm in adulthood, and it sucks. I've been trying to get out of the hood for years. All the responsibility of having a family, full-time job, paying bills, all that stuff. So while you're in high school, responsibly, of course, I want you to have fun. Be a high school student. Go to prom. Play sports. Just don't get hurt. Have fun, but don't do drugs or get arrested. There's plenty of time for you to be in the military, and there's plenty of time for you to be an adult. For the next 4 years, without putting a whole lot of effort into it, just for the most part, be physically active, whether you're playing sports or just in good general health exercises. That's it. Don't get hurt. Don't get injured. Try not to get sick. Don't do drugs. Don't do stupid things to get arrested, because if you do stupid things, you'll win stupid prizes. And the choices that you make today will impact your future, whether it's medically or legally. And a stupid mistake could impact the rest of your life. So my advice to you, Alec, is enjoy high school. That's just my 2 cents on the topic. If you're eligible for the split training option, I would recommend that, just because as a 17-year-old high school junior, you'll have about 2 years completion of your 6-year contract by the time you get job qualified post high school graduation. And that's 2 years of work experience on your contract. So the split training option video is coming into the chat box for you. You can check out for yourself there. Good luck to you. Omar says, I am planning on joining the Texas Army National Guard. Hua freaking Luya. Not biased at all. Does it make a difference if I apply in September or October? I say the sooner the better. Why delay the inevitable? Is there a reason why you're waiting until September or October? Why can't you do it now or don't want to do it now? Why not stop planning and start executing? Why put off something to do tomorrow when you can do it today? You know what I'm saying? Staley, 91 Bravo. I'm not seeing any other comments from you, but I appreciate you sharing. Being a mechanic is a good job. Robinson says, I lost my job, so I was using my student loans and credit card to stay afloat. I have a decent job now, so just starting my payment plan. Gotcha. So that's a good, I mean, it's not a good excuse, but at least it wasn't like you just said, F it, I'm not paying it. Like you had a legitimate reason. It's either I survive or I pay my bills. So that's the thing. So now you're doing the right thing to get all caught up and everything. So, all right, not too bad. How many months did it take you to get back to making those payments, Robinson? You're very welcome, D's nuts. Nyquilla says, give me the max term, Sarge. The max term for what? Contract? You mean contract length? 8 years is the max that you can sign up for, but there's no reason to do 8 unless you're doing the student loan repayment program for $50,000 at 8 years. But 6 years is usually the max. I either sell a 3-year option or a 6-year option for the National Guard or Reserve. But if you want contracts, I would recommend that you watch this video here. I share a lot of insights about contracts in this video. Are there any educational records for the Army? What do you mean by educational records? I don't follow. Is there any educational requirements? Now it makes sense. Yes, you need to be able to join. You need, under normal circumstances, a high school diploma or a GED. If you don't have either of those, then you need 15 college credits from an actual college, or 675 clock hours from a vocational school like a Job Corps or any other vocational school. And that would be used in lieu of a high school diploma or GED. At least for the Army. JG says, how hard are more waivers to get in if you popped hot and never got kicked out and did 12 years? Happened mid-first contract, finished it and extended and re-enlisted, then got out back in May of 2020. Did you have an honorable discharge? Is there any flag in the system? I've never ran into that case. I've had people discharged for that specifically. It depends on if there's a flag attached to your discharge for history of drug use. Matthew says, sorry for the confusion. Thank you. Had a handle on some things back home before I felt comfortable joining reserve. Scared I waited too long and don't want maps coming through medical history again. Who's this again? Matthew. I don't even know what we were talking about. And I'm not seeing your prior message. The doctor at MEPS didn't say I would need it. Oh, okay. Talking about the medical. Okay, yeah, you're good. Yeah, no worries. JG, focus on his high school stuff, dude. If you want some sort of immersion, do junior ROTC. There you go. That's a good option. I didn't even think about that. Yeah. Omar, I was concerned about the fiscal year for the military. Are they still aggressively recruiting at the end of the fiscal year or met their goals? It really depends on the region of the country that you're in, whether or not they're still aggressively going for it. For all intents and purposes, the Army has already surpassed 61,000 people that they've recruited so far this fiscal year. So they've already far exceeded their projected end goal strength. Same thing with the Army National Guard, which will pose additional frustrations in the upcoming fiscal year. More information to follow once it solidifies, but it's about to become a crazy, hectic year next year. We're victims of our own success is all I'm going to say for now, but more to follow when I get that information. Do recruiters lie? Had one that literally talked about an open contract and another and seemed legit. So if you're going like, let's say Marine Corps or Navy active duty, then yeah, they maybe even Air Force, they'll have open contracts where they'll decide the job for you after you graduate from basic training or towards the end of basic training. Army is one of the few branches, if not the only branch, that guarantees an MOS at time of enlistment or contract outside of you going for Flurry option or the 09 Mike option, because they can't offer you a job until you successfully pass the ASVAB test and we know what you exactly qualify for. Do recruiters lie? Some of them do, unfortunately, but it's not as rampant as it was back in the day when I first joined back in like 2000 to 2001 and a few years after that. But with everything at your fingertips today, you'd be an idiot if you get screwed over by a recruiter or lied to a recruiter. Like, you can easily find somebody like me who's going to keep it 100 with you no matter what. So do your homework, do your research, and you won't get screwed over. All right. Robinson says, my last payment on my credit card was about 3 years ago. The job market was very competitive. I was unemployed for the last 2 years. All right. That's going to be a hard sell, but hopefully they'll see the value in the reason why you were doing it, whatever. But bottom line is, at least you survive. You're in a better place now, and just sell yourself. The reason why they're concerned about it, obviously, is your ability to possibly be compromised with bribes and things of that nature in the future from other countries like China and such. So it just makes you more of a questionable character, because they want to know why you were not responsible enough to keep up with your bills and all that good stuff. So just looking at weighing what type of person you are, your character, and things of that nature. So again, that makes sense. If it was just like you didn't feel like paying it, then that would be a big problem. You know what I mean? But with that being said, have an honorable discharge, but don't have full discharge paperwork at all. SF80 doesn't show anything. JG, so you have to request on the SF180 your full discharge packet, which includes the you should be getting your, if you were active duty, you need your DD-214 or DD-214s, your discharge orders, your discharge packet. So if you were like negatively discharged or whatever, then they'll have paperwork justifying your premature discharge, but it sounds like you just ETS'd out. So again, what we're looking for is your DD-214s and your discharge orders. Your discharge order will usually have the code for any type of flag. All right. How do you enlist after you graduate? You talk to a recruiter. So if you're going National Guard, it's 800 nationalguard.com. And if you're going Army, it's goarmy.com. Contact a recruiter tab. JG says, is there any way to get a GWAT award relooked at? What do you mean? If you served during that time period, it should be on your DD-214. So I never deployed, so I know there's two different types of global. There's the Global War Against Terrorism, and I think there's the Global War Against Expeditionary Award or something like that. So if you want to direct message me on Instagram for anybody here, because I'm about to close it up tonight, I will look up the answers and get back to you with what you're looking for. So JG, hit me up. Let me know which one of those you're talking about, like the normal GWAT one with the Army service ribbon that you get at basic training, or are you talking about one because you actually deployed and it didn't show up in your DD-214 after that rotation or deployment? Let me know what you're talking about. Let me know if that's what you mean, okay? So for MEPS and reception, this is my MEPS video. This is my basic training reception video that will deep dive everything you want to know about both of those. And if you want to know about the ASVAB, that's this video here. Good luck to you in MEPS. Unfortunately, I do not have anything or any knowledge on DoD contracting yet, but I'll be looking into it. You're very welcome, Robinson. Matthew says, so I do have, I think you meant a marathon, 6 months to, more than 6 months to get MEPS. That LASIK surgery, they examined me and requested it in March. I won't be able to get the recruiter and join until November, which is 9 months late. Yeah, that's fine. Just you'll have to update the LASIK stuff with your new recruiter and whatever branch of service that you're going into. All right. Appreciate you. Thank you so much with the hashtag Team Swartz. With that being said, I appreciate you guys coming in here tonight. It's been fun. We'll do this again next week. Same time, same bat channel, 7 p.m. Be there, be square. Get in there early. See you then. Team Swartz signing out. Hula frickin' Luya. Good night, y'all.